Hey, Coach Candace here, and I'd like to follow up on one of our clients' comments within our Nutrition Kickstart program. And through that program, we do a series of healthy habit lessons, and some of those address the foods such as protein, carbs, and fats. And through those lessons and any of the lessons, we encourage our clients to follow up on what is one of their takeaways from that lesson. And through the carb lesson, the client remarked, carbs are not evil. And I want to say, hey, my work here is done. Too often, carbs are demonized, and people make every effort to eliminate those from their diet, but you don't actually have to do that. If you want to, fine, but you don't have to. But honestly, by eliminating those, you're really setting yourself up for some potential health consequences of doing that. Because really, carbs do have very important benefits. So one, they are an important source of energy. So especially if you're going to be heading into a lengthy workout, you will want to have fueled with carbs. And also to recover from your workout, you also want carbs as well. Carbs are an important source of vitamins and minerals, namely looking at our fruits and our vegetables. You can almost view them as nature's pharmacy. So for example, people will take a vitamin C supplement and cut out carbs, but yet you could accomplish the same goal by eating oranges or other citrus fruits or other fruits and vegetables. So again, you're taking a supplement from the same thing that you could ingest through food. And also too, by eating carbs, namely your fruits and vegetables, you're also ingesting fiber, which again will support your overall health, support your colon and gut health. So those are really important things that you're missing by eliminating that food group. And for example, if you want to take a vitamin C tablet, okay, but then you're missing the benefits of fiber, and you're again missing out on an important source of energy for your workout or for recovering from that. So again, a lot of things that are overlooked by just eliminating something entirely. But again, the key takeaway is you don't have to give them up. Some people think of it as a badge of honor, as yes, I cut out carbs. And like, okay, but again, there's consequences of that. But at the end of the day, you have to go by the practice that reflecting on how food makes you feel. There are some folks, and again, their lifestyle supports that, where they have reduced carbs and have reported feeling better. And again, that's important for them. But just as long as we make room to include some as far as those that have some good health benefits. So for example, if someone wants to build muscle for whatever their reasoning might be, whether they want to tone or even just get stronger, or perhaps they're getting stronger for a certain sport, carbs are going to be an important fuel for that. And they're also going to be an important fuel for recovery from that. Some folks who are wanting to engage in endurance events, you're going to need carbs to support that activity, as well as, again, recovery from that activity. But again, just thinking about how any food makes you feel, even just any good food. So for example, I have some folks who might be challenged with acid reflux from different foods that they eat. So yes, even though those foods are good for you, perhaps their response to them is not, and they just need to find the ones that do agree with them. But at the end of the day, it's total calories that matter. It's not carbs making you fat. It's eating beyond your body's needs that is contributing to fat gain. So for example, whereas our body's protein needs are somewhat consistent, and perhaps our body's fat needs are generally consistent, our carb needs are greatly dependent upon our activity level. So the person who is sedentary and works at a desk, barely gets 5,000 steps a day in, perhaps doesn't work out, has a much lower carbohydrate need than those who, let's say, work out 3 to 5 days a week, or do actually get in 8 to 10,000 steps a day. Those folks are going to require more carbs to support that. And again, this is really glossing over a lot, because we can also go into, someone who has a higher percentage of muscle mass relative to body fat is probably going to need more carbs. But again, that's a lengthy discussion, and again, really comes down to the individual in those cases. But also too, when it comes to carbs, so much marketing is done around that, and so many products out there throughout the store that have made many products highly palatable. We want those, we crave those. We don't have the same craving for an apple as we do for a serving of chips. But the thing is, those more processed foods, like we're more than likely to overeat those. So when it comes to carbs, if we focus on the more minimally processed carbs, so for example, let's say an apple versus applesauce, or again, potatoes versus potato chips, it's very hard to overeat those that are minimally processed. So for example, it's very hard to overeat apples, but it is easy to overeat a bag of chips, or just, again, ultimately servings of chips. When we try to prioritize filling up on those that are more minimally processed, we might not have the same hunger for as much as the processed foods. However, I do want to close with, you have to make room for the foods that you enjoy. Just because, let's say birthday cake might be something that falls on obviously the more processed ends, we want to make room to enjoy that, and to enjoy that at like a family member's or a loved one's birthday, because that's not something that comes around often. But yet if we are to fill up on more of the processed foods on a regular basis, then it's more than likely that we're not going to have the body that we desire, or to perform in the gym or our everyday life as we desire. So in closing, I know that touches upon a lot. Each one of these I could probably dive into deeper, but ultimately the takeaway: carbs are not evil. They are important, and work them into your nutrition in a way that aligns with you and your goals. I hope you found that helpful. By all means, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask, and I look forward to seeing you in another educational segment.